everyone, and welcome back to another video. We are building in my doo-doo save file for this one, and we are also doing a speed build for the first time in what feels like forever. So the reason we're doing speed build is because one, I don't know, my house is very loud sometimes, so I didn't have time to record a full-length video. Hope you don't mind. And two, when I first returned to doo-doo after I guess a pretty long hiatus, I was like, okay, my goal for version 2 is to finish it by the end of the summer, meaning at least by the end of August. And what do you know? Next week, I think, or something like that, is going to be July. So I was like, yeah, we gotta get a move on. So I'm going to be doing a lot of building in doo-doo. We're still going to have some long plays because I like recording long plays, but you're going to get a lot of speed builds from the save file as well, so we can get things kind of moving on. And speed builds, I don't know, they're just easier to edit sometimes, or upload, I should say, because long plays I don't really edit, but speed builds with my internet, it takes like a million years. Anyway, enough of that introduction. Hope you guys are having a good day, morning, evening, wherever and whenever you're watching the video. And today, as you can see by the title, we're building a little movie theater for Copperdale. Because my whole vision for Copperdale, as I mentioned before, it is a high school years world, right? It came with the high school years pack. So I want a lot of the lots to be focused on the teenage experience, a lot of activities for your teen sims to get up to, but also probably your adults or whoever else, because everyone goes to the movies and stuff like that. So I wanted to build a movie theater. And with the addition of the business and hobbies pack, we can actually make that come true. So instead of having that little rabbit hole in San Sequoia, we actually have a little movie theater here. And I have gone ahead and play tested it. It is up on the gallery, so you can download. And it works, honestly, it works really well. Like, I'm actually pretty surprised because you guys know how things can get in this game. But yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And as you can see right now, the exterior came together pretty quickly, which is a good thing. I feel like this whole build came together pretty quickly. I was pretty much building on autopilot, because sometimes there's just certain builds where like you can just do like that at the snap, versus some it might be a bit more of a struggle. But this one went by pretty fast. And I also dropped the inspo pic that I use for this. I put up this cute little theater on Pinterest that I use. And for the most part, I think it translated well to the game. But right here, where we're placing down these windows, I like the design that the windows were in and the actual image. But as you guys know, not everything translates to The Sims pretty well. So yeah, these were kind of similar to the windows that were on the actual build. But the windows we have in game, I don't know if it was like a swatch thing or if it was just too much of like an EA texture, but it wasn't working for me, so I do go back and change those. But besides that, this is pretty accurate to the Pinterest image that I was using for this build. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And then when we get into the interior, I mostly relied on my experiences, because if you don't know, I'm a pretty big, well, not pretty big, but I'm like into movies. Like, I do watch movies. I do like going to the theater. You know, people still go to the theater, believe it or not, even though there's Netflix and Hulu. I like the experience, so I go to the movies pretty often. Therefore, I was mostly going off of memory when it came to the interior. Also, I was going off of, I guess, my hometown theater. 2 of them, because we have like a little dollar theater, and then we have like the kind of, I don't know, is it? No, it's not AMC. It's some like little chain, but it's bigger than a dollar theater. Anyway, all that to say, I was just using my experience when building the interior, and I'm happy with how that turned out as well. So yeah, now we're just kind of getting all the details on the outside of the build together. Not really much to say here, just a little bit of tooling, that stuff to get the marquee in place and all that. So now you can kind of see what I was talking about here with the windows. I changed the base game windows out for the ones from Snowy Escape because honestly, I just like the texture better, and I felt like it worked better, especially since we started adding in, I guess, the columns and the wood details around the windows. It kind of emphasized that, okay, these are really EA windows, if you know what I mean, versus the Snowy Escape ones. They kind of blended in a bit better because they're a bit more detailed. So we went with that, and we switched up the windows as well. And I like it. Looking back on it, I wasn't 100% sure, but I like it because when it comes to this theater, we're very much going for like an old school vibe. Like, this theater has been around for a long time. Like, the Sims in this town, their grandparents and their grandparents probably came to this theater, so I wanted it to have that feel. So yeah, I'm happy with the kind of wooden details that we have on the outside and switching out those windows. And now I think we're slowly starting to move to the inside of the theater. Yes, we are. And like I said, when it comes to like the interior, the floor plan, I literally based this on, also sorry for all that noise you hear in the background. The phone is literally in the other room and you can hear it. Hopefully it's not too annoying. Or maybe you can't hear, I don't know. But anyway, like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, I literally based the floor plan for this build off of my memory of my local theaters, both of them. So that's how that came together. That's why it came together pretty easily too, because it wasn't anything too crazy. You know, you have the concession stand, we have an arcade off to the left. And for the concession stand, I noticed that when I was playtesting this, for some reason, that little specialty coffee bar that we got from Business and Hobbies, like the Sims, the customers, they would not buy from that. Even if it was like the only customer activity that they could do, they just wouldn't do it. So I ended up switching out that bar for the bubble tea one, and that one worked pretty fine. But also another thing I noticed when it came to this build is that if you set the customer task or activity as watch movies, because of course you would, it's a movie theater, but if you set it as that, it tends to override like all other activities that you assign the customers. So for this lot, when I was playtesting, I had play arcade games so they can use the what do you call it, the little arcade machine that I put in there. I had eat popcorn, buy tea. Those were the other activities, but all the Sims would do, they might play the arcade machine every once in a while and they would take some pictures in the photo booth, but for the most part, they were just watching movies the whole time, which, I mean, I'm happy because I was worried that they would just eat from the popcorn machine constantly, because if you know Sims, they love using those little small appliances like the tea maker and stuff. So I'm kind of happy about that, but I don't know, if you want your Sims doing like more things on the lot instead of just watching movies, you might want to, I don't know, you might just want to take it out and only put it back in when you actually want your Sims to watch movies. So that's something to consider. But other than that, yeah, this lot functioned very well, and the boba tea and all that stuff worked. So I was very happy about that. Also, you'll see that I had went onto the gallery to try to find some little jerry-rigged items, because if you don't know, you can find a lot of stuff, cool stuff in the gallery. Like, people will constantly tool stuff together, or you can download art which people have uploaded to the game themselves, instead of just using the same stuff over and over again and having to rely on CC. So yeah, I did that, and I found this cool little popcorn machine, but I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to include it into the build, because you might have noticed that it was a bit glitchy, because they sized down the windows to put on the popcorn machine, and therefore you can kind of see the black outline of the original window. So I took that out, but then I was like, you know what, I'll put it down, and if it bothers you, you can always delete it, because I might do that if it bothers me enough. But I don't know, it just looked too good not to have in here. But all that chatter, we're pretty much done with the first part of the theater. We have the concession stand, we have our little bench and stuff. Now we're moving to the arcade, because I don't know if this is common, but in the theater near me, there's like a little arcade room. You know, you have some claw machines, some Street Fighter, stuff like that. So I thought, why not put it in here? Because, I mean, yeah, it's a theater. The main thing you're going to the theater for is to watch movies, but I like having lots that have a little bit of variety to them, so I figured maybe, you did go to the theater, you watched a movie, and now you just want to kind of chill at the arcade, or maybe you just come to the theater specifically to play arcade games, because that is something people also do. So not much to do over there, just place down the machines. And yeah, guys, we're like halfway through this build now. I was surprised how short it was, but like I said, I was pretty much running on autopilot when it came to building this, because I had a pretty clear plan in mind, which doesn't usually happen when I'm building. And also, it was a pretty simple layout. We only have one theater room. I tried to fit in two, but yeah, one was all we could do, which I think is for the best. So yeah, we're getting the bathrooms down, and then we're going to move on to the theater room. I think that's what you call it. Cinema room? I actually don't know what you call those things, but yep. Bathrooms are finished. Now we're switching over to the theater room. And theater room, that came together pretty easily. It functions pretty well. We were able to do 3 rows, but only 2 of the rows are functional because of the platforms and the height with the Sims. So that's fine though. Because honestly, when I was playtesting this, it kind of worked fine, but also, Sims are Sims and they do weird things. So they sat on the first row just fine, but when the second row, when Sims go up there, they do sit down, but also, you know how Sims love to just get up and start chatting and doing random stuff? That did happen, so I'm like, maybe it's for the best that the third row isn't, you can't actually access it. But yeah, other than that, the theater room came together pretty well. I end up switching out the screen we have now for an actual, projection screen, because I didn't know we had that, honestly. I forgot we had that one from, what do you call it, Get Famous. So yeah, and honestly, I'm just so happy how this turned out, because when I first started building this, like I said, I had a clear idea, but at the same time, you just never know how things are going to work in the game until you try it. So I'm glad we didn't have any issues. I'm glad the slot works like it needs to. And yeah, I think it's a good addition to Copperdale. I think it fits in with the world, especially with some of the other community lots I have in mind in the downtown area. Probably gonna do, of course, the boba tea in the thrift shop, because that's an actual lot type that comes with this pack, so it'd be weird if we didn't include one. And probably a bookstore, since this lot used to be a library, and since we don't have one anymore, I feel like we need some type of reading space. So yeah, and I think I have another idea for community lot too, but I can't remember. I have a bad memory, so yeah. Anyway, I guess what else do we have to talk about the build? I do have a little bit of a story in mind. So since it is a small business, there's going to be an actual sim that owns this. And I was thinking, maybe this sim, they used to be a really big name in Hollywood. Once upon a time, they were one of the A-list actors on the scene up there with Judith Ward. But maybe it was like one of those things where they got a little too big for their britches, if you know what I mean. So they started burning bridges, people didn't really want to deal with them, and then they just ended up fading out of the spotlight. They're kind of blacklisted, and then they were forced to retreat into the shadows because they were kind of disgraced. No one didn't really like them, which is kind of crazy because Judith Ward, I feel like her story is kind of similar, yet she still remained to be relevant, and she's very much lauded in the Sims Del Sol Valley community, even though she is not a good person according to her stats. But yeah, this person, they just didn't have that luck, so they kind of retreated back to Copperdale. Maybe they were originally from here, and they saw the opportunity because this old theater, like I said, it's been around for a long time, and as you guys know, people just don't go to the movies anymore, especially with like Netflix and the way the industry is set up now, where movies barely stay in a theater, or if they do, it's only for like a week or so. So the theater is struggling a lot. It's probably, on the brink of bankruptcy. It's probably been, threatened by people moving in, trying to buy it and just sell it for scrap or destroy. I don't know, all that stuff that happens. Like when people come in to small towns and they just try to take over. That's what's happening here. So maybe this actor, he spent a lot of time here growing up, and that's where his love of movies came from. So he uses some of the money that he has left, and he buys this theater, and his goal is to fix it up. I'll probably go back and make it a little bit more shabby, but yeah, his goal is to fix it up. He wants to make it a successful business, and I feel like that could be a fun story to play if you decide to hop into Copperdale in this save. Like your goal is to make this a successful theater again, to get people to come in to the doors, to actually come and experience the movies instead of just staying at home and watching it from their couch. And I don't know, I feel like he has kind of an uphill battle because, like I said, he's a bit of a disgraced Hollywood actor, so many people don't really like him, and he's not the best person. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Barry, the TV show, but when I was thinking of this character, I was kind of inspired by the acting coach. I don't remember the name of the actor, and I don't remember the actual name of the character, but yeah, pretty much it's kind of the same story where he used to be an actor. He used to be like, I guess, kind of a pretty big name in the industry, but then he burned a lot of bridges and he was kind of forced to dip back into the shadows. So he became an acting coach. So that's where I kind of got inspiration from. And I don't know, maybe one day he can make like a big comeback. Maybe he can rehabilitate his image, but as of right now, yeah, he has a lot of enemies and he's kind of struggling too because maybe he wasn't the best with his finances when he was younger, so he barely had enough money to buy this theater, and now he's kind of really banking on it, of revitalizing, I think that's the word, this theater and his career. So yeah, definitely an interesting story that I can't wait to explore a bit more, because I kind of came up with the story in the moment, so that's all I really have to say about this guy who owns the theater. But let's see, yeah. Now, honestly, that's pretty much it for the build. We do go in like a minute or so. We do go and make his office because that's when I got the idea for him. I wanted to show that like he has connections. He has connections to Del Sol Valley. So I'll talk about that a little bit more when we go to the office. But right now we're just going around, adding in a bit more detail. This is the part where I was kind of still debating if I wanted to try to add the popcorn machine over here. Because like I said, I don't know. Sometimes I'm a little bit fine if things are a bit glitchy or, they're a bit janky. But the popcorn machine is like right there in your face. So I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I don't know how it'll look when I release the final version. But yeah, we'll see. Here we are in the final part of the build, the office of our actor sim. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of make sure his story, his personality shines through a bit in this office. So we're gonna have like a trophy case of all his old accolades from his career. We have some, I don't know, some memorabilia from some of his films and stuff that we hang on the wall. We have some stuff tucked away in the corner. And yeah, at first I was like, okay, maybe the manager for this place can just be a really big movie buff. But then that idea hit me of, the disgraced actor. And I like that story better. Some things I'm still trying to think about is, okay, if I want the sim to be someone you can actually jump into the game and start playing with, where are they going to live? Because the thing is, with Doodoo, there's two versions of the save, right? One of them is the for rent version, so therefore I'm able to squeeze in like more sims in the world because Copperdale is pretty small, but with for rent I can, make a few things shake. But with the non-rental version, which is where I don't use any rental lots, it might be a bit more difficult. So I'm trying to decide. I'm thinking one possible solution could be I can make this into a residential small business lot. So maybe, because I said this actor is kind of struggling with his finances and most of the money is going into the theater. So maybe I can do a thing where he is sleeping in his office. I feel like that would be fun to play that way, right? Because we do have enough room. I put a couch in here, but we can easily switch that couch out for like the Murphy bed or just like a little cot or something. But yeah, that is one option. Second option is I can just maybe give him a house, but then that means one less family for the non-rental version. So that's something to think about. So yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know. Do you like the idea of him sleeping in the office? I think that could be kind of cute. And I'm kind of leaning towards that, but maybe once I start actually planning out the townies for this world, because I haven't really put much thought into the townies outside of the whole skip broke drowning stuff. But yeah, once I think about it a bit more, maybe we'll have a better idea of how I can go about this. But yeah, anyway, as you can see what I was saying about the trophies and all the memorabilia and stuff. And in the trophy case, you might notice there's like a big empty spot in the middle. Because like I said, he's been pushed out of Del Sol Valley for a long time, but he definitely wants to make a comeback. He wants to redeem himself. So he's leaving that big open spot on his trophy case for that one Starlight Accolade Award that's always eluded him. So that's like his mission in life. Once he gets the theater up, once he clears his name, he wants to return to the spotlight and take what he feels like is his. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this build. We're finishing off the office, and then we probably go around and I think we add in a few more details, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Screenshots coming up, and you can expect more speed builds from Doodoo. Hopefully we'll finish Copperdale by, I'll probably finish it this week, but you guys will probably finish it in a few weeks because I'll be spacing these videos out. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this video. And I will see you soon. Bye.